Hey guys, so I'm repairing our couch we bought from Ashely Furniture. It broke a couple of years ago when they came and fixed it, where the front board underneath broke. Now the back sinks down. On this side you can see it kind of dips down. So we're going to walk you through fixing that today. So one of the first things we can see, this is the underside of the couch. We pulled away this backing, it's just stapled in. But this piece, let's see if you can see that. This piece is broken back. And that is just OSB. There's not much there. Okay, so once you peel this back, you realize how poorly made most furniture really is. These are just sheets of OSB. Looks like it has a strip. I'm not sure what that is, if that's poplar or maple. I'm not sure. It looks kind of like maple to me, but it goes all the way down. And then here you see they're just attaching this to the end of OSB with some nails or toenail in it, and it's loose. So I'm gonna put a couple of Kreg screws there. And then here is what I was talking about, where that one was broke. So I'm just gonna marry up some plywood here all the way across, and then put some plywood here on either side so it gives me something to screw into other than OSB. And here's what's really causing the seat. This is broken. This is just a piece of OSB that goes right under the seat. And it's connected on that side, but you can see where it just cracked there. And this is what it's supposed to look like. You can see it's just attached on either side. So I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm just going to leave that in place, put it in place, and marry up some plywood the same width, and then build up the walls to give it some bracing. So stay tuned. So here's the toenail. I'm going to put 2 Kreg screws in here to attach it to the OSB. I'm just going to leave this in place and marry a couple of pieces of plywood all the way across and tie it to this board, as well as the 2 cross supports. But one thing I noticed up here, this is loose up here too. So this is so poorly made. So I think I'm going to put another Kreg screw up there. Right here. That's just loose. Not connected to anything. This is the backrest. So I'm going to Kreg screw that as well. And then one thing I noticed, I've got these. This is the under support, which I guess is where the mattress on the top fits in, or the chair cushions. These are just tacked in cloth to this piece of wood with nails, or well, actually they've got some staples there, but they're really crappy staples. You can see this one's coming loose, so I'm going to also get my compressor out and staple these to the wood so it has a lot more support. And those are really pretty horrible staples, so I've got some beefier staples that will do better. So I'll show you as I progress through this. One thing I realized, I looked on the other side, and that board actually, that support board goes in that hole. I didn't realize that. So this will actually go in that hole. So I don't believe I'll be Kregging that, but I will toenail it again. I'll have to take these out and put it in there and then toenail it. Alright, so I'm in the shop. I cut 2 of the top supports that are 4.5 inches by 30 7/8 or 3/4. And that could differ. I mean, that's going to differ on your couch. But these are basically around 5/8 inch thick plywood. It's going to get a lot more support than OSB. I'm going to double up on the top support. And I had this 2x4 floating around, so I went ahead. This is going to be for the seat support. Got a lot of meat. So now we're going to go install those into the couch. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is hammer this back into the hole. Easier said than done. With some assistance from my son, we were able to get it in there. I had to push from this side. And it looks like all they've done is toenail this into the board. So what I'm going to do to strengthen it, I've got some scrap plywood. I'm going to tack it in around it with some glue and let it dry. And that's going to create some support. And then I can put some, then I'm going to put some screws into it after that dries. And that should really help keep this in place. Alright guys, so this was cracked up here, and after pulling this apart, I actually had a board here. So I measured here and I cut my board. We're going to Craig it on either side, but what I'm going to do is put glue on it. I've got glue on it, and I'm going to tack it in. And that tacking in is basically just going to hold the board to the wood so it dries. Because the glue is where you get your strength, not from these little nails. Oh. If I get that in there. That's really pulling it together. Once this is done, I'm probably going to put a couple of pieces on either side of this OSB right here, glue it, and I'll screw those together so it'll really strengthen this joint. Okay. Alright, so here's what I ended up doing. So these pieces are all glued around this board that is recessed in this OSB. So I basically framed around here to hold it in place. Then I added a secondary piece of wood and I braced it with 45-degree angle braces. I also screwed plywood here on each side to strengthen this joint. I installed another piece of plywood here, glued it, and Craig jigged it to the structure. Did another 45, and I added a 2x4 there with some 45s. So next step for me to do is to staple these straps in, and we're going to call it done.